Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Soul Land 3 Legend of the Dragon King Part 25 based on novel. So let's start. Tang Wulin said, I wish to practice the 1,000 refinements more and earn a better income. After saving enough money, I'll be able to buy a spirit soul and eat better food at the academy. My eating ability is too great and nutritious food is too expensive. Mang Qian looked at his growing disciple, who seemed to have become even taller during the last 3 months, and his expression began to soften. He sighed gently, then said, maybe I was wrong. Actually, you already had qualifications of a 3rd-rank blacksmith when you succeeded at the 1,000 refinements. Your soul power may not be strong enough, but your innate divine strength makes up for that. Especially considering the fact that you are able to enter the mental state and completely devote your being to forging and sense the life within the metal. At your age, that's simply remarkable. One of the reasons I wasn't rushing you to become a 3rd-rank blacksmith was because I was afraid of showing you more of the world of blacksmithing, and that you would grow arrogant of your talent. This would bring ruin to your future. Yet, I overlooked the fact that regardless of whether one were a soul master or a blacksmith, they all require an enormous amount of resources to cultivate to higher levels. The only person you can rely on is yourself. I really was too selfish. Tang Wulin looked at his rueful teacher as if in a daydream. Teacher, so you're allowing me to take the 3rd-rank blacksmith test? Mang Qian nodded. Take it. Since my disciple is such an exceptional genius in the realm of blacksmithing, what kind of reason could I have to not let him blossom and shine? Having received his teacher's approval, Tang Wulin joyfully said, Thank you, teacher. Thank you, teacher. Mang Qian's expression returned to normal as he seriously said, You don't have any reason to be so happy right now. I must remind you that after becoming a 3rd-rank blacksmith, you'll have reached a higher status within the blacksmithing world. I'll ask the association to keep quiet about you for a while, so you'll need to keep a low profile too. Yes, teacher. Tang Wulin promised respectfully with haste. Wulin, I've been stuck at the level of 6th-rank blacksmith and have been unable to enter the realm of Saint Craftsman for a long time. This isn't because my efforts have been lacking or that I wasn't gifted enough. Rather, it's because I don't have the soul power necessary to become a Saint Craftsman. In the last 10,000 years of our Doluo continent, soul devices have developed at high speed and become modernized. The superiority of soul masters has gradually faded away. Even an ordinary person is capable of using most of the available soul devices now. Moreover, soul devices possess formidable attack power, which has allowed them to completely change the entire continent. Regardless, I must tell you that our Doluo continent is still founded upon soul masters. Thus, no matter the occupation, soul power and soul master ranks are crucial in order to reach the highest levels. For example, a divine rank mecha master must possess at least 8 soul rings. One must be at least a soul Doluo to reach such a level. For us blacksmiths, it's exactly the same. Without 7 soul rings, a martial soul's true body, and a thorough understanding of one's martial soul, it would be impossible to become a Saint Craftsman. After encountering this problem, I knew it was impossible for me to become a Saint Craftsman in this lifetime. This is the reason why I told you to focus on soul power cultivation when you got here. With your innate divine strength, when you become a 5th-rank craftsman, you'll need tremendous spiritual power and soul power to support you. Thus, you must put forth your greatest effort towards cultivation and you cannot be stingy with your money. Eat lots of nutritious food at the academy too. Yes? Mang Qian was usually a man of few words, so when Tang Wulin saw him so rueful, his heart tensed up. Although he was still young, his soul power was still inferior to his peers. Becoming a powerful soul master? That was easier said than done. All he could do was redouble his efforts and stubbornly cultivate. Mang Qian searched his pocket, fishing out an envelope that he handed to Tang Wulin. There's another matter I came to settle this time. Read this letter. It's from your father. Oh? Why didn't Dad just call me on the soul communicator? He was busy cultivating every day in order to improve himself, so it had been a week since the last time he'd called home. Read it and you'll know. Mang Qian looked at him with eyes full of meaning as he nodded his head. Tang Wulin had a bad premonition as he hastily opened up the envelope. Inside of the envelope were 2 cards and a letter. Tang Wulin looked at the letter first. His father's familiar handwriting was scribbled all over it. Tang Wulin, my son. By the time you receive this letter, your mother and father will already be someplace far. Father has always been selfish. I've let you suffer so many hardships just so I could live a peaceful life. Even when it came time for your spirit soul, I couldn't do anything and you had to settle for a trash spirit soul. That night, your father cried. It was because I didn't have the ability to help you that you were forced to learn how to forge at such a young age. Although I don't regret it, I still made you go through so many hardships. Father is sorry. In fact, Father is a mecha designer. In those early years, I had drawn the attention of some powerful figures due to one of my designs. They wanted to completely control me, but I chose to escape with your mom to Glorybound City. From then on, we'd lived in seclusion as ordinary people. But it seems that an ordinary person's life isn't suitable for me. For your sake, I will resume my old trade. As for the 2 cards that came with this letter, one of them is your identity card, while the other is a bank card that can be used throughout the continent. The bank card contains the money I accepted from signing the contract to be that powerful figure's mecha designer. There's 1 million federal coins in there, enough for you to buy 100-year spirit soul. This is all that I can do for you right now. Wait for your father to earn even more money, I'll send it to that card's account. Son, you are gifted and must walk towards the apex. Don't look back and only continue walking forwards. Remember the words Father told you. In this world, the only person you can rely on is yourself. I believe that with your strength and ability, you will definitely be able to reach the pinnacle. You don't need to look for us. We're in a place that is impossible for others to find. We won't be contacting you anymore, but I know your soul communicator number. Just wait until our situation has settled down, then I will come to find you. Your father and mother loves you. We will love you forever. Tang Wulin stared at the first line of the letter, his entire body and heart seizing up as he did so. His father's words had been extremely ordinary, but they were filled with his love for Tang Wulin. Dad, Mom. Tang Wulin suddenly screamed before turning around, trying to run out. In the next moment, however, he ran straight into Mang Qian, whose body was like a copper wall or an iron bastion. Mang Qian grabbed onto his shoulders with both hands. They are fine. They'll just be far away from you for a while. Wulin, you must stand strong. Tears streamed uncontrollably from Tang Wulin's eyes. It's for my sake, all for my sake. All to earn money for my sake. Mom and Dad have gone far away for my sake. At that moment, 3 months of yearning for his family attacked his heart all at once. He tightly gripped the letter and broke down crying. Mang Qian simply held onto Tang Wulin's shoulders without giving him any more advice. At this time, letting him vent all of his emotions was the best solution. After crying for some time, the sounds of Tang Wulin's weeping gradually died out. He raised the letter in his hand and read it over once more. Whenever he read the words, "Your mother and father loves you," his tears would once again begin to flow out uncontrollably. Mom and Dad are gone, and I don't even know where they went or when I'll see them next. Enea is gone too. My whole family, gone. Do you want to search for them? Mang Qian's pensive voice called out. Tang Wulin raised his head, facing his teacher with tearful eyes. Mang Qian said, "If you wish to find them, then you must first become powerful. Your father is an outstanding mecha designer, but because he is too outstanding, he was threatened by others. Of course, his excellence also secures his safety. But someone with the power to take him away is definitely not someone you can match up to right now. If you want to find them, then you must first become strong enough. The current you is simply too weak." "Teacher," Tang Wulin shouted, "I want to become strong." Tang Wulin proved strong in the end. After venting his feelings, he was gradually able to steady himself. Mang Qian spoke with him about some matters regarding the 1,000 refinements before leaving. Tang Wulin also returned to the academy shortly after. Within his storage ring were 2 new cards. His identity card allowed him to go anywhere on the continent, while the bank card carried the money his father left him, a hefty million federal coins. Tang Wulin's wealth already surpassed 1,300,000 federal coins, and he wasn't too far off from being able to afford both the ice crystal fruit and the scarlet flame fruit. For the current him, spirit souls were no longer the most important thing. The most important thing was for him to ensure his own survival by absorbing the soul of the Golden Dragon King sealed by the first seal before he reached 10 years of age. Wulin, what's the matter? When he ate dinner with Xie and Gu that night, they both discovered that there was something off about him. Even though his powerful physique had already gotten rid of the puffy eyes from his crying, his dull expression clearly revealed his sorrow. He was still a child and didn't understand how to hide his own emotions yet. Tang Wulin shook his head. Nothing's wrong. That's right, what have you found out about Class 1? Gu and Xie exchanged a glance, both of their expressions seeming to grow serious. Xie heavily said, "We've run into some trouble." Ian? Tang Wulin was roused from his dispirited self. He understood how arrogant Xie usually was, so something that would make him utter the word trouble meant that their opponents would be difficult for them to handle. Xie said, "Our Class 1 this year is actually called the strongest new class in the last 100 years. It's no wonder that the director could throw me into Class 5 without batting an eye." Strongest new class? Tang Wulin said, "How strong are they? Don't tell me they have 3 people with 2 soul rings." Xie looked at him in shock, while Gu had a meaningful look in her eyes. The two of them spoke in unison. "How did you know?" Tang Wulin was equally as dumbstruck. "No way. All 3 have 2 soul rings? Are they really new students?" Gu said, "We're certain. We saw Wei Xiaofeng today, and we found out that he isn't even the most powerful of the 3. I don't know if Teacher Wu picked us 3 to battle because of those 3 students in Class 1 or not, but I know for certain it will be hard for us to win this upcoming battle." Tang Wulin's expression seemed to have froze. All 3 of them only had 1 soul ring. Even if Xie had twin martial souls, Gu was still an ordinary 1-ring soul master. Either way, all 3 of them only had 1 soul ring each. The gap between 1 ring and 2 rings was simply huge. When they faced Guanlong that time, all 3 of them had to work together to match him. Even then, they had only prevailed due to Tang Wulin's Golden Dragon King power. But now, they were about to face 3 2-ring opponents. How could they fight this kind of battle? Gu said, "All for the sake of that class, the Academy recently issued out some new rules for the class promotion tournament. Classes can no longer skip grades anymore, they can only climb up to a better class number. Clearly, they are afraid that this year's Class 1 will sweep away the upper grades and influence them negatively. Right now, Class 1 has the most qualified teachers. Clearly, the Academy values them highly. Reportedly, they are considering letting them skip grades right now. Their opponents were actually so powerful. Tomorrow, they would be facing these powerful opponents on stage. This was simply too sudden. In the face of such powerful opponents, did they even have a chance of securing victory? He could tell from Xie and Gu's expressions that their confidence had already been shaken. As for himself? Among the 3 of them, he was, in reality, the weakest one. The 3 of them sat there silently. Tang Wulin was so disturbed that he had actually lost his appetite. Right at that moment, a piece of news was suddenly broadcast in the dining hall. "Teachers and students, pay attention. Teachers and students, pay attention. The following announcement is an emergency announcement. Our meteorology department has notified us that a strong tropical storm will be passing by tonight. This storm is an extremely powerful typhoon and is forecasted to persist for a whole week. Thus, for the next week, students are advised to not leave the academy and all classes will be suspended during the typhoon. Please wait quietly in your dorms. The class promotion tournament will be temporarily suspended until the typhoon has passed." A typhoon struck. East Sea City was a coastal city, and encounters with typhoons was a normal occurrence. But they never expected that a typhoon would strike at such a fortunate time. The typhoon had arrived. What Tang Wulin paid the most attention to was the last few words. The class promotion tournament was suspended. The trio looked at one another. This meant they had another week to improve themselves and investigate their opponents. However, it didn't make much difference. What could they possibly accomplish in only a week's time? Even for Xie, who was the closest one to reach 2 rings, it was virtually impossible to cultivate to that level in a week. Tang Wulin's expression suddenly froze as he suddenly stood up and walked away. "Wulin, where are you going?" Xie hastily chased after him and asked. Tang Wulin didn't even bother to turn around as he answered, "I'm going to go settle a small matter. The typhoon is about to hit, so I need to leave quickly." Having said this, he quickly rushed out of the dining hall. As he watched Tang Wulin's departing figure, Xie turned to Gu and doubtfully asked, "I've always felt that there's been something bothering him these last 2 days. Have you felt that too?" Gu said, "I think so too, but he's still much calmer than you. You should change yourself for the better." Xie furiously said, "Is it even possible for you to not pick on me?" Gu leisurely responded, "Not possible. You've always been a bad example anyway. Arrogant, prideful, and not particularly strong either. Wulin is different. He's steady, reserved, and has unlimited potential." Xie stood up in indignance. "I won't argue with a girl." His voice had been a bit loud, drawing the attention of all of the girls within the dining hall. Xie suddenly sped away, disappearing quickly like a wisp of smoke. Sun with rays. Tang Wulin hadn't just rushed out of the dining hall, he had even rushed out of the academy. His heart had been set ablaze and now, a powerful voice unceasingly resounded within his heart. "I want to become powerful. To become mighty. I wasn't strong enough, so Nea left. I wasn't strong enough, so Mom and Dad left. I'm not strong enough, so I'm a burden to my teammates. I want to become strong." If it was the past, then Tang Wulin would have had no choice but to accept their loss. Now, however, he found out about the Golden Dragon King and the possibility of growing stronger. The seals on the Golden Dragon King endangered his life, but also gave him a chance to change his destiny. 1 week. He was left with a week's time. This was the time given by the oncoming typhoon. Dad sacrificed his freedom in exchange for 1,000,000 Federation coins. I need to use that money to strengthen myself. Tang Wulin took out his soul communicator and quickly pressed one of the few numbers stored on the device. "Wulin?" Very quickly, a warm voice could be heard from the other side. Tang Wulin's words were concise. "Grandmaster Center, I want to start my 3rd rank blacksmith ranking examination. Can I do it now?" On the other side of the soul communicator was Grandmaster Center Yu, a Grandmaster rank blacksmith. "Isn't it too late now?" "Wait, what? What did you say?" "3rd rank craftsman." Center Yu didn't have much of a reaction at the start, but when he understood what Tang Wulin was saying, he was so stunned that his voice rose a pitch. "Not possible." Tang Wulin stopped his footsteps. His eyes were clouded with disappointment. It seemed that there was typhoon today again, and it would be suffocating if he couldn't sit for the examination. When would the typhoons reach the city? What about his own plan? His warm and passionate heart grew colder. "You just wait a moment," Center Yu said in a deep voice. Sun with rays. At this moment, Center Yu was dining in a restaurant, but he wasn't alone. Sitting opposite him was the president of East Sea City's Blacksmiths Association, the Saint Craftsman rank Mu Chen, as well as his precious daughter, Mu Shi. "Who gave you such a shock just for taking the 3rd rank examination?" Mu Chen asked with a grin in his face. It was good for the association to have a new blacksmith join their ranks, but he was rather curious about the shock on Center Yu's face. Center Yu's expression changed and there was a hint of strangeness to it. "You wouldn't have guessed it right. It's the kid." "Who?" Mu Chen was surprised for a moment, but then a youthful face appeared within his mind. Center Yu nodded towards him. He said that he wanted to come in now to complete the 3rd rank examination. "But it's too late now, you see." Mu Chen's eyes shone with shock as he took in a deep breath to balance his agitation. He spoke deeply, tell him to come by now. The examination may proceed without further ado. All right. Center Yu removed his hand from the mic and spoke through it again, come then, Wu Lin. You can come now to take on your ranking examination, this is by the President's request. Yes, I shall be there immediately. Tang Wulin's excited voice was heard from the other side of the communicating device. Mu Shi gave her father a suspicious look, then gave one towards Center Yu. Dad? What are the two of you talking about? Why is there a third rank examination happening at this late hour? Why do both of you look shocked? Mu Chen sighed lightly and rubbed his daughter's head. Girl, there are people above people and heavens above the heavens. That person is Tang Wulin. Mu Shi grew stunned when she heard this before she jumped up abruptly like a released spring. No, this isn't possible. How old is he? How could he be entering the third rank craftsman examination? To pass the third rank requires the 1,000 refinements. Mu Chen told Center Yu, please call for the bill. We're going back. Seeing is believing, so let us witness this miracle. Sun with rays. When Tang Wulin reached the association, the skies had already darkened but the gates were wide open. There weren't any lights within the gates, however. It's late. Has everyone finished work already? Not only had East Sea Academy received the news of an oncoming typhoon, the Blacksmiths Association had also received the news as well. Most of its staffs had gone home earlier because of that. None of the reception staff were in when he walked into the main hall of the association. Tang Wulin took the elevator up to the 3rd floor. As the elevator doors opened, he found himself looking at a familiar face. Wasn't this Master Center Yu? Hello Master Center. I am troubling you at this late hour. Tang Wulin had calmed down by the time he got here. While he spoke, there was a hint of embarrassment on his face. Center Yu walked towards him and rested a hand on his shoulder. That's nothing. No time is too late to witness a miracle. Let's head over then. He hadn't say anything more as he guided Tang Wulin towards the forging workshop where the examination would be conducted. As he entered the workshop, Tang Wulin was blown off. There wasn't just one examiner within the workshop. He had cited Mu Chen as well as Mu Shi. President? Hello, President. Tang Wulin gave a quick bow before greeting Mu Shi. Hello, Senior. Ever since their fight, Mu Shi hadn't approached him with trouble anymore. To meet her again, Tang Wulin felt indifferent to it. Mu Shi's expression, on the other hand, was filled with fire when she stared at him. This kid, is it possible? He's actually coming to take on the third rank examination? This is unbelievable. Mu Chen grinned. Wulin, your breath seems unstable. I would recommend you calm yourself down before the examination. Tang Wulin felt his heart beat. Thank you, President. I'll adjust myself then. Sorry to keep all of you waiting. As he spoke, he settled into a sitting position on the ground. His eyes observed his nose watched his mouth shut his heart as he entered the meditative state. Center Yu looked at Mu Chen and whispered to him, what do you think? Do you think he will succeed? Mu Chen smiled. Though I've only seen him a couple of times, his character is much more mature than most kids his age. If he didn't have any certainty, he wouldn't have turned up. He must have met with something to come seeking you so urgently today. If not, he wouldn't have rushed here at this hour in the night to complete the examination. After his examination ends, you can ask him. I've also seen that his second-rank tasks have grown in difficulty. These are the tasks at the peak of the second ranks. Center Yu smiled. It seems that we have similar guesses. President has the same thought as me. We're all focusing on this little kid. Mu Chen grinned. This might be the only genius craftsman from our East Sea city. As a president, how could I not be aware of that? Tang Wulin didn't actually enter complete meditation but had drawn support from his soul power and adjusted its circulation. This was done in order to calm himself down and balance out his emotions. After 20 minutes, He grew more stable when he regained his standing position. President, Master Center, and examiners, I am now ready. Tang Wulin bowed towards these three individuals. Compared to his current state, the state he had been in when he'd just arrived was vastly different when one examined his breath, as well as the calmness that was now present in his eyes. Mu Xi stood on the side with the cool eye of a bystander. Although she was unconvinced by this boy who was even younger than her, she still paid attention to him. She refused to acknowledge him, but she had to admit that Tang Wulin's temperament was better than hers. If she had been the one to take the third-rank test instead of him, she would definitely need far more time to calm her heart. After all, the 1,000 refinements was vastly different from the 100 refinements. Unless one entered a state of complete focus for the forging, it was basically impossible to succeed. The surveyor said, the third-rank blacksmith's test only has one task, complete 1,000 refinements. You may choose any metal you wish to 1,000 refine, but keep in mind that the degree of your 1,000 refinements and the difficulty level of the metal you choose will determine your final score. Yes? Tang Wulin respectfully answered before he turned around and walked over to the shelf upon which the metals were displayed. I must pass this test. He swept his gaze over the various metals once before taking a chunk of heavy silver from the top. Amongst the uncommon metals displayed, heavy silver was the one he was the most familiar with. Moreover, it had been the first metal he had ever 1,000 refined and forged. Although it had a higher difficulty than other metals, Tang Wulin was already exceptionally skilled at entering a state of total concentration. He also had an understanding of the heavy silver's structure and could communicate with it. When they saw that Tang Wulin had actually chosen heavy silver, both Mu Chen and Center Yu were startled while fury ignited within Mu Xi's eyes. This guy is simply too arrogant. Heavy silver? Even a fourth-rank blacksmith wouldn't be confident enough to 1,000 refine it successfully every time. Heavy silver is an exceedingly difficult uncommon metal. The surveyor warned him kindly, Tang Wulin, you certain that you want to choose this metal? Although you are able to 100 refine heavy silver, I must warn you that the 1,000 refinements is completely different from the 100 refinements. The difference isn't as simple as just a difference of numbers, but rather, you must infuse spirit into the metal. You need to think about this clearly. I am certain, Tang Wulin calmly responded. From beginning to end, his eyes had never left the chunk of heavy silver before him. He clamped the heavy silver onto the forging table with practiced movements, then the metal went into the furnace and began to heat up. Tang Wulin's breathing was already beginning to adjust to a routine. In that moment, the outside world completely disappeared from his gaze, leaving only the heavy silver on the forging table in both his eyes and heart. It was almost as if he could hear the metal breathing within the furnace as it heated. He could feel it thirsting for change, just like him. 100 tempers to become steel, 1,000 forgings enters the soul. Tang Wulin spread his arms to receive his pair of 1,000 refined heavy silver hammers, both appearing with a dull grey light into his hands. After all the time he spent forging with these blood-sacrificed hammers, they had already become an extension of his body. The spiral pattern on the hammer's shafts fit perfectly in the hollow of his palm. It felt as perfect as water was harmonious. Mu Chen and Center Yu had good judgment, so when they saw him take out the heavy silver hammers their gazes grew rapt with attention. Just how much did heavy silver weigh? In order to have enough to forge a hammer, 100 refined heavy silver had to be used at the very least. They could clearly imagine how much those hammers weighed, yet Tang Wulin lifted them as easily as a feather. With the hammers in hand, Tang Wulin silently took in the smell of the heavy silver calcining. Suddenly, the hammer in his right hand shot out and lightly tapped a button on the forging table. Soon after, the glowing red heavy silver came up from the furnace. Without any sort of prelude, the hammer in Tang Wulin's left hand shot out. Ding ding ding. 3 crisp notes rang out, resounding towards the blacksmith's present. That ear-splitting boom had been 3 sounds in one. Sparks flew off the heavy silver as well as the hearts of Mu Chen and Center Yu. Stacked hammers? He actually has forging hammers with the stacked hammers effect. 1,000 refined? Are his hammers actually 1,000 refined? Just how heavy are they? How monstrous is his strength? While they stood there in shock, Tang Wulin was already brandishing the hammer in his right hand. Ding ding ding. Another set of rumbling sounds roared. With increasing strength, Tang Wulin swung his blood-sacrificed 1,000 refined heavy silver hammers. His hammers were like howling winds and torrential rains as they continuously smashed the chunk of heavy silver. He swung his arms, pounding the metal, causing the entire table to tremble. Yet, he stood as steady as Mount Tai. Above all else, his gaze never left the heavy silver as he continued his single-minded forging. As he forged the heavy silver, it gave rise to a familiar voice which Tang Wulin focused on. With each strike of his hammers, Tang Wulin was able to hear the carefree song of the metal. Bit by bit, the impurities were dispelled and the metal grew harmonious on the inside. Under the powerful stacked hammers effect of his blood-sacrificed 1,000 refined heavy silver hammers, the chunk of heavy silver reduced in size so quickly that the process was visible to the human eye. Tang Wulin's heavy silver hammers were incredibly heavy, and with the addition of their stacked hammers effect each strike was equivalent to 10 strikes from his 1,000 refined tungsten hammers. In order to ensure success in this exam, he had taken many things into consideration and had come to the conclusion that only with his heavy silver hammers could he display his true strength. After Tang Wulin's 3 hammer strikes, Mu Shi had already been stunned into foolishly staring at him in awe. As the daughter of a saint craftsman, how could she not know the significance of the stacked hammers effect? Moreover, the effect the hammers had on the heavy silver clearly showed just how heavy the hammers were. Even with such heavy hammers, Tang Wulin was able to exercise complete control over them, to the point where they were like an extension of his own body. Just how much strength would one need to be able to accomplish such a feat? But the funny thing was, she had tried to obstruct him in the academy before. Now that he had revealed his forging prowess, regardless of whether it was his understanding of heavy silver or his control of strength, she simply couldn't compare with him. Tang Wulin assaulted the chunk of heavy silver with his hammers that were like a howling wind and a torrential rain, whilst he himself stood as steady as Mount Tai, steadily forging the metal. The silver luster gradually disappeared from the heavy silver, in its place were deep cloudy lines. Tang Wulin's heart was steady and as peaceful as water. In that moment, all other thoughts had been cast to the back of his mind, leaving his heart and soul focused only on forging. This was how he entered a state of complete concentration. His heart and spirit became one as he continued to forge not just the metal, but his spiritual power. Ding 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 ding. One perfect hammer strike followed after another without pause, making the heavy silver hammers seem as though they were merely a streaking silver light. They unceasingly pounded the chunk of metal, condensing it, compressing it, and purifying it. It had already been 3 months since he had learned how to 1,000 refine. Since then, this was only the second time he attempted the 1,000 refinements. This was 3 months of preparation, 3 months of soul power cultivation, 3 months of maturing. All of his experiences in these last 3 months now underwent a catharsis as he forged. Bang bang bang. He finally finished his 1,000 refinements with a strike from his right hammer, causing a 3-fold violent boom to resound throughout the room. That chunk of heavy silver had already reduced in volume by 1/3 of its original, and its dark red coloring was quickly fading away. In its place was an overflowing dark cloudy pattern. Tang Wulin was drenched in sweat as he waved his hammers a bit to disperse their momentum. Afterward, the 2 hammers disappeared into his bracelet with a brilliant light. The rumbling of metal being forged still filled the chamber, leaving no room for any other sounds. Too fast, he had finished too fast. From beginning to end, he had only taken half an hour to forge the heavy silver. A metal as dense as heavy silver had been 1,000 refined in half an hour. The surveyor didn't even need to take a look, as she already knew from experience that this chunk of 1,000 refined heavy silver would receive full marks. The dark cloudy pattern that spread all over the metal was already enough proof. Stacked hammers. He has a pair of stacked hammers. Mang Chen is simply too much, Center Yu exclaimed in admiration. Mu Chen's gaze was focused on Tang Wulin, watching his state of total concentration gradually subside. Did you forge these hammers yourself? Mu Chen asked. Yen. Tang Wulin nodded. It was only after he affirmed it that he began to feel regret, but it was already too late. His mind had still been focused on forging, and he hadn't had the strength to think about his answer. Mu Chen laughed. Only something that you forged yourself and used blood sacrifice on would be so compatible with you. Congratulations, from this moment on, you are a third-rank blacksmith. They didn't need the surveyor to announce his score. In fact, the surveyor was also at a loss as to what to do. With such a high-level 1000 refined heavy silver, it would even receive full marks for the 4th-rank blacksmith's test. He only had to fulfill a few other skill requirements in order to become a 4th-rank blacksmith now. Naturally, the 4th-rank blacksmith's test wasn't just on the 1000 refinements. One had to be able to 1000 refine 3 different types of metal in a row. Moreover, the 3 metals had to be forged into specific forms in order to pass. Thus, it was still impossible with Tang Wulin's current strength and soul power. Releasing a long sigh, Tang Wulin somewhat bashfully said to Mu Chen, "Thank you, President." Mu Chen spoke with a smile, "Don't mention it. Our association didn't nurture you anyway. Everything you possess had been gained through your own strength. I'm glad that you're here in East Sea City. From now on, you are a 3rd-rank blacksmith as well as a Grandmaster blacksmith. Even though I hope you won't grow arrogant, I must still inform you that in the entire history of our continent, you are the youngest 3rd-rank blacksmith." Tang Wulin was stunned. It wasn't until now that he understood why his teacher hadn't wanted him to take the 3rd-rank blacksmith's test. Mu Chen said, "You have brought glory not just to yourself, but also to our Blacksmiths Association branch in East Sea City. If you have any requests from the association, then the association will do its best to aid you." Tang Wulin hesitated for a moment before raising his head. His gaze gradually grew more and more resolute. "President, I want to take a loan from the association. Is that possible?" Mu Chen wasn't surprised by Tang Wulin's words. He had long since guessed that Tang Wulin had some purpose for coming to take the test so late in the evening. "What do you need the loan for?" Tang Wulin clenched his fists. "I want to become strong. I want to buy some things to improve myself. That's what I need the money for." Mu Chen asked, "Can you tell me what you want to buy? Our Blacksmiths Association still has some influence within the city and maybe we can help you save some money." Tang Wulin went silent for a moment before he spoke. "I need 100-year ice crystal fruit, 100-year scarlet flame fruit, and 10 drops of 100-year dragon bloodline beast blood." Tang Wulin had this brazen idea ever since he had run out of the dining hall. With the current strength of him, Xie and Gu, it was clear that they were no match for Class 1's trio of 2-ring soul grandmasters. But if he was able to absorb some of the Golden Dragon King's soul and gain control of its tremendous power, something which had even caused his martial soul to mutate, then perhaps they would have a chance at victory. He truly wished to become powerful so that he wouldn't be a burden on his teammates. In a week's time, he had to become a 3rd-rank blacksmith and complete as many tasks as possible, then maybe he would have enough money. But he then realized that a 3rd-rank blacksmith had many more privileges within the association, thus, he thought to bring up the possibility of taking out a loan. He wanted to absorb the Golden Dragon King's soul and join his comrades in this crucial match of the class promotion tournament. Mu Chen looked at him with an unfathomably deep gaze. "Are you aware that spirit fruits may harm the body?" Tang Wulin responded, "I know. I am certain of this." Mu Chen nodded. "Good then. The association will give you these 3 things. As for their value, you can complete tasks and slowly pay them off." Tang Wulin stared at Mu Chen. In that moment he only felt a blazing fire ignite within his heart. Geniuses of Class 1, wait for me. This video will end here.